And a good Monday afternoon to you. Lanny Ford, Juju Phillips along with you here on the bottom line. Kind of cloudy, maybe some raindroppies out there somewhere. We had some rain overnight, I noticed, when I got up this morning.
And this afternoon.
I didn't really see any this afternoon.
Southern part of Catawba County.
Okay.
Southwestern, I guess, over where where I work at, yeah.
Okay. Over in God's country, near Lincoln County.
Yeah. Right on the border there. Over there.
Fred Ford and West Lincoln are creek cousins. It's just that Ford was down the creek.
Okay, is that the way it works?
Yeah, we were up the creek.
Goes from 127 to Plateau Road.
Yep.
It's the same road, but they pronounce it Plateau instead of Plateau.
Yeah, it's Plateau. Yeah.
Why?
Obviously, you're not from here.
No, I'm not.
It's always been Plateau. Is it spelled the same?
Yes.
It's that confusing English language. That's what it is.
That's okay.
It's that confusing English language. Glad to have you along. Baseball playoffs, high school baseball playoffs have been announced, and I'll run those down for you. Baseball and softball, a number of local schools inside of that.
Trying to get one of those local schools coaches on the show tonight.
You should have told me. I'm doing things with him.
I didn't know that until I walked in. You have your business stretches far and wide.
It is
connections.
Connections. That's me. Connections. Oh, come on. No, I'm not looking for anything basketball. How about that? The good old NCHSAA.
They're jumping up in, right? They're going 8 divisions now?
8 divisions, a big 32 and a small 16. Stephen Lowe, good evening. Milton, good evening. Bob, happy birthday to Juju from Bob. And it is Juju's birthday.
Thank you very much, Bob. Bob's shares the same birth date as a good friend of mine from way back. April 26th. I remember that date very well.
Let's see. There we go. 24 baseball championships. Is it just me, or have you always found the NCHSAA website hard to navigate?
It is. It is very hard to navigate.
You can't find stuff.
The best place to go, in my opinion, is high school overtime.
But they want to charge you.
No, you get their newsletter, right?
Yeah, but they want to charge you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I could pull stuff up, though, more. I could say quicker.
Let's see. I just had it up on my other computer. What'd you say? High school OT?
Yeah, high school OT.
Every time I try to go look at something, it says, "Who? You don't subscribe? Give us your $1,700 a month."
There you go.
Announced. Okay.
There's your projections and their playoff brackets right underneath.
I don't want the projections. I want to know the brackets.
Yeah, they're right there.
And be an insider. I don't want to be an insider. Just, show me or quit posting it and don't send me emails. How about that? I like that. Let's do that. Don't send me emails. I do not like it when you send me, you ask me to subscribe to your stuff.
Yeah.
So you can send me emails and then you don't let me into anything you send me. That irritates me.
Yeah. It's not good business practice.
All right, here we go.
Simple. Really, that took like 15 seconds.
Yeah. Wow. All right. First of all, let's go 1A. It looks like Highland Tech is in at a 17. They'll take on East Wilkes. Cherryville is a 5 seed. They'll take on Mitchell. Bessemer City is a 29 seed. They'll take on Drone. And that looks like Piedmont Community. That's in Gastonia. They're a 10. They'll take on Mountain Heritage. In the 2A, it's going to be Burns taking on East Burke. Burns is a 1A. I think they're undefeated in 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
I believe I heard David and him talk about it on Saturday.
Burns 1A?
2A.
2A, okay.
Yeah. Lincoln Charter will host Brevard. Bandy's will host East Gaston. It will be North Surrey hosting Maiden. That's a 14-19. That one's kind of close. Randleman will host West Lincoln. That's a 9 versus a 27. And finally, that is it. That's finally for the 2A. For the 3A, it'll be North Gaston hosting St. Stephen's. East Lincoln hosting Oak Grove. Lake Norman Charter hosting Atkins. South Point will host Crest. Fred T. Ford will host Irwin. Tuscola will host Stuart Kramer. North Lincoln will host North Henderson. And that'll take care of the 3As locally. In the 4A classification, I want it really, South Iredell will travel to Ragsdale. Lake Norman will travel to Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if Mooresville's in it. No, but South Caldwell will host Alexander Central. So there's your baseball playoffs.
You said 3A. You said Ford playing Asheville, Irwin?
Yeah, if they host them.
Okay.
I want to say Ford.
Tomorrow.
I think, yeah, that starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think Ford is a 5 seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they got 2 players on their team. One is, both are East Carolina commits.
Okay.
One of them is a pitcher, outstanding pitcher. They're saying perhaps if we have a chance to talk with Shannon Vogel, their head coach, he is a kid that might get drafted.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah.
All right, let me give you softball. Rundown on the softball. Okay, Acrobat Reader, just quit playing. Just show me what I need to see. I'm not a happy camper today, Juju.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh, I know why.
It's those little things.
Yeah, it's always the little things.
We'll get into loyalty later. Right there. In the softball playoffs, it is Mountain Island Charter will host Rosman. Cherry will host Bessemer City. That's a rematch of a conference game. Drawn will host Langtree Charter. 2A, West Lincoln will host East Rutherford. Lincoln Charter will host West Caldwell. Swannanoa Owen will host Burns. Bunker Hill will host Moorhead. Maiden will host Wheatmore. That's a 3. Maiden's a 3.
A 3
3 versus a 30. Yeah, in softball. Sure is. East Gaston will host Chase. And Bandies will host Forbush. One other local team, North Stanley, will host East Burke. Roll into the 3A. Oak Grove will host Freedom. Inca will host North Lincoln. It'll be Ashe County hosting East Lincoln, the defending state champions in the 3A. West Henderson will host Stuart Kramer. Now, I'm anxious to see how that East Lincoln's going to go. Softball and baseball have the same head coach.
No kidding.
If I'm not mistaken. I think I'm going to talk about that Saturday. Crest will host Eastern Guilford. Stuart Kramer will travel to West Henderson. In case I didn't say it, Ashe County hosts East Lincoln. Franklin hosts North Iredell. West Rowan will host Forest View. Fred T. Ford, a number 7 seed, they'll host Northwest Cabarrus. And Kings Mountain will host Southern Guilford. On the 4A side, South Caldwell hosts Cox Mill. Northwest Guilford will host South Iredell. Hickory Ridge will host the Butler. I just like saying the Butler.
The Butler Bulldogs.
Lake Norman will host Southwest Guilford. They're a 15. And Mooresville is a number 2 seed in softball. They'll host North Meck. And all those get started tomorrow. And then they'll play again Friday, the 10th. Is it Tuesday and Friday? Is that the way they go? They just play 2 games. That's in softball. I would think baseball's the same way.
Yeah.
I'm guessing because of pitching rules. But the second round will be the 10th, and then the next round will be the 14th. So it'll be a week from today. So they'll play Friday and next Tuesday.
Okay. So there you go.
There's your breakdown.
And the playoffs are starting in college. The NCAA tournaments for Division I, Division II. They are starting this week.
Why did I see? Is Clemson a number 2 baseball? I saw something about Clemson hosting Charlotte. Why? What would that be? A different sport? Could it be something else?
No, is that softball maybe?
No, because Clemson's like a 22 in softball.
They've already.
Was this baseball?
Oh, I was talking about softball.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what so no conference tournaments.
It depends. I don't know about Division I. Division II had their conference tournaments last week.
Okay.
And they finished off and LR won theirs.
Let's see what baseball says.
Usually softball's Well, I mean, baseball too, Division II. Some of these conferences had theirs. Theirs is going on as we speak.
That was World Series. I guess it hasn't started yet.
No, I think we're just talking softball.
And I thought they were on the same thing. I watched a lot of softball over the weekend. Okay, college baseball. There's nothing in the brackets. I was looking for some dates.
No, I think the ACC tournament and some of these other tournaments are starting this week. They usually start after graduations. That's usually the telltale sign.
Did you know that if you ask Q, they wouldn't be eligible because you can't participate if you've graduated? Well, you can if you've graduated. You just can't carry over a semester.
No, I'm talking about college.
I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a little bender there. Softball championships get started Wednesday through Saturday at Duke.
Okay.
Duke is hosting the ACC.
Mm-hmm. Division.
Now, we've got a softball guest on tonight.
Yeah, Sheena Holler, whose team just won the South Atlantic Conference Championship, first time in 11 years. They came out of the losers bracket, Lanny. They lost their first game, and they have a double elimination tournament. They went on to win 6 games in a row, and they won the tournament over the weekend and are champions, and they're going into the playoffs. I believe they start Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll talk with Sheena. It's been heavy.
Do they have the brackets where they're going?
Brackets came out this morning.
We'll look at that in just a second.
Yeah.
2 play-in games for the ACC softball tournament. That would be Carolina and Notre Dame.
Okay.
And they start Wednesday, and then Syracuse and Boston College. The winner of the Syracuse-Boston College plays Duke, who's number 1 ranked. Virginia's a 4, Clemson's a 5, Florida State is a 2. They will play the winner of the Carolina Notre Dame, and then Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech on the bottom end of that bracket. And let's see if we can get to baseball. I wish I knew what I was looking at with. I guess I just need to figure out what Clemson is ranked number 2 in. Has lacrosse started its stuff yet? I don't know.
Are they good in lacrosse, Clemson?
I got nothing.
Now lacrosse starts this week. Later this week.
Okay, I don't.
Maybe they're number.
Okay, here it is. I got it right here.
ACC tournament.
No, because tomorrow Clemson plays Charlotte. I knew I saw that email come down.
So this is a non-conference game.
Yeah, but why would you be playing that now?
Maybe, well.
And there's a lot of them. Duke plays East Carolina tomorrow night. Pitt plays Youngstown State. Jacksonville plays Florida State. Norfolk State plays NC State.
A chance to play one more non-conference games before their conference season or tournament begins. I think that's probably it.
I got nothing. I was trying to see. That's the 7th. And then the 8th, there's more games. Virginia, George Washington play. Pitt, Wright State. Wake Forest, A&T. Florida International plays Miami. Virginia Tech plays Liberty. Friday is still another conference game. Duke will play Georgia Tech, Clemson, Wake Forest.
Oh, yeah, it's midweek games. Usually those are non-conference games.
I'm just surprised that they're still playing and not getting into the tournament yet. I mean, I'm showing regular baseball games through May 16th.
Well, that's only 10 days away.
I just didn't think that it started that much later. Saturday the 18th, maybe the last.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me see.
Well, you remember the College World Series is basically in early July or late June, early July.
Let's see.
I mean, they used to have the College World Series at the same time they had the baseball draft. So you had kids that were playing in the World Series getting drafted. Now they moved it up a little
21st through the 26th.
Okay.
And
Memorial Weekend.
If I'm not mistaken, it's in Charlotte, so I'm guessing that is at the Knight Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great place for it to happen.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that's a great place for it to happen. Pop back over here. Let's see. Steven said, what are your thoughts on talk of CBA for college athletes, especially football, making players sign contracts to play in all games? I see lawsuits as soon as the first big-name player gets hurt and draft stock is hurt. Well, he has an option there. Bob said, High School OT wants you to subscribe too often. You're correct. Full Rember is live from Busch Stadium.
In St. Louis.
He's at a meeting. Have a good trip there, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, let's go to you first. Coach Haller, is it 6:45?
No, 6:15.
Okay, let me do that. Let me take a break, and then we'll talk to her, and then we'll come back and get you, Stephen. I promise. I ain't leaving you out. Promise I'm not. honest engine. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rember today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange.
And welcome back. I'll change that. How about that? Is that better? You don't like that roaring noise. I don't like that hot stuff, Roy. Let me flip over here. We'll head to the phones and bring our guest on. She is the head coach of the Lenore Ryan Bears, getting started with some playoff action in D2. Coach Sheena Hollick, good afternoon to you, Coach.
How are you tonight?
Doing great. Has weather messed you up any yet?
The weather today? No, not today. But this weekend it messed us up a day or two, but it's all right.
Yeah. Well, you got to take it when you can get it, don't you? You don't get to pick it as much as you'd like to. So,
no, we only missed like 1 or 2 makeups this year, so that's pretty good for 56 games. So.
That is good. You know, I noticed yesterday, I was telling Gigi, I watch a lot of college softball, especially when it gets to be this time of the year. And I was surprised. You played how many games? You say 56?
That's our our cap. We played 54, and then you put 5 and 7 more postseason tournament, and then like postseason tournament so far.
Is that a D2 rule?
It is.
Because I was surprised at the number of games the D1 teams played. There were a lot of teams out there that were like 30-something and 20-something. I'm like, wow, I had no idea that softball played that many games, or even baseball for that matter in college. That's a lot of games, especially if you got travel involved.
Yeah, that's a lot of games.
Do you get a lot over a weekend stand? Is that where you kind of
usually early in February when you're playing, early season tournaments. That's when you're going to get like 4, 5, 6 games in a 3-day span.
Okay.
So, and then, if you look, the last week of our season, we played Monday, Thursday, Saturday. So that was, and those 2 of them were makeups, conference games.
Right.
So we're the road bears at this point.
Wow.
We haven't played at home since 2.5 weeks. So the weekend against Newberry, so whatever senior day was, that's the last time we played at home.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. How'd you guys do it? You come out of the losers bracket. You won 6 games in a row, including, I think, 2 or 3 in extra innings. How does this young team come alive here in the last week or so?
I don't know, Juju, but I'm glad they have. That was it Thursday or Friday. The days run together, but first tournament against Tusculum, we played like crap, and I was just so mad. I'm like, okay, we're going to check out of our motel because we're going to lose 2 and come home, and then boom, we had a good talk in the hotel on, I think it was Thursday night or Friday night, and they came alive and have been alive ever since, and that's like should have been who we were all year, but it really is who we are.
Is that a young team maybe getting some maturity?
I think so. When we're a big part is a freshman catcher, a freshman third baseman, a freshman pitcher, but then you also have some juniors and seniors that, hey, we can really do this. It's coming to an end, and we can really make something happen.
Yeah, the freshman catcher and pitcher, they did a really good job, I guess, yesterday, and Lanny Warren is the freshman catcher. She came really clutch-wise. She hit a couple of home runs in this tournament, especially the last few games.
She did this weekend against Anderson. She struggled a little bit the weekend before, and Emily and I, my assistant, got some one-on-one time with her in the cage. And sometimes it's just getting your head right, and it might not even be like your technique. But yeah, she hit really good this past weekend for us.
It's been. I'm trying to put this in a way. It's been a heck of a year for you guys, where you personally have won your 1,000th game. The news about the new stadium was announced. Now you win the South Atlantic Conference Championship. What's next? Tell me about this team, and what's it been like for you seeing this team go on this run here late in the season?
It's been awesome, and like you said, Juju, just so much going on. Parties here, 25-year party, stadium party, 1,000 victory dinner, and it just keeps adding up. But that's to me, that's awesome, and the kids get to experience that. But I think we've peaked at the right time, and we go into this weekend, and we've played everybody that's going to be in our regional, and have the willpower and the talent to advance as far as we can go.
Lenny, they've broken it off in the regionals, so it's going to be LR, Wingate, Lander, and Anderson. Yep. And you've played all those teams, so it's almost like another round robin, another round of games against teams you're very familiar with.
And I think that's good. Like, we just played Anderson, and we played Wingate a week ago. We played them 4 times already this year, so I don't know. We won't scout them very much. We'll just look at our scout report. But Lander, we played the first game. That was our first doubleheader of the season, so we'll probably go back and watch them a little bit. And I think their lineup has changed from when we first played them. But we're excited the spot we're in.
Coach, I want to go back to something you said a little bit earlier when you're talking about a player that's struggling a little bit. Folks don't really understand how much of all sports is really a mental game. And the furthest distance that an athlete has to travel is the 6 inch between their ears, because they can get things in their head that aren't real when it comes to what they're doing.
You're right. You realize, she's like, oh, did I get my foot down, or am I swinging at strikes, or is it this, or is it that? Or,
Overthinking it.
Or the umpire he was calling it high or outside, and just trying to get him to relax and go, you've been hitting balls since you were 8 years old. It's no different. So just making them be confident. And right now, several of them are very confident.
Yeah, because sometimes they get into a little slump, and it happens, and it may not be anything that you've done, tweaking a swing or anything, your stance, but sometimes you just overthink that. Now, I've just always heard that, whether it's, middle school, high school, and even college, sometimes that's the thing that's the hardest thing to get through, and when a coach can sit down and kind of work you through that, it kind of takes care of itself.
It does. Sometimes it's, what do they say, 70, 80% mental, and the other is, yeah, so that's a high percentage, especially when you're dealing with 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. So that's another different issue.
Hey, Coach, when are they going to break ground on the stadium? I guess as long as you're still playing and practicing on the field, has there been any designation or any time when they're going to start doing that?
June 1 is hopefully the start date. That's what we had a meeting last week before we left, and we're hoping that June 1 is they will be able to get in and start doing what they need to. So fingers crossed.
All right.
So when you just so I've got this in my head, is this a double elimination tournament all the way through?
It is. So how the regionals works, top 8 teams in our Southeast region go 4 on one side, 4 on the other side. And you'll play a double elimination. And then those out of those 2 brackets will go play a 2 out of 3 at super regionals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how the rest of the tournament is made up. And then if you win supers, you go to the World Series.
Okay. Yeah, we were just looking. I just pulled it up as far as the bracket, that the other side of your bracket. I'm not familiar with any of those schools. Flagler, Columbus State. I don't even know what UNG is.
North Georgia.
North Georgia.
Yeah.
Francis Marion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Francis
And
Marion.
we played 3 out of those 4. So
Okay.
we've played those. We've played those schools. We split with North Georgia. Didn't play Flagler. My former assistant is a head coach there. We beat Columbus. And then who's the other one down?
Francis Marion.
We split with them.
Mhm.
Yeah. So kind of how it twinkled out was there's 3 South Atlantic Conference schools in one bracket,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 Peach Belt schools in the other bracket. So more than likely, a SAC and a Peach Belt school will come out of those brackets.
That's one of those things that I hate to say this word when you don't mention this word around high school coaches, but almost seems like a pod system. Most high school coaches in football hated the pod system because they said, well, we're trying to save on traffic and travel, and we're trying to put you, and you wind up playing the same, just like you said, you're playing the same schools you just played.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you would hope at some point that the NCAA can fix that.
Right.
And maybe let us play some other teams from other regionals and go that way or do it that way.
That would make sense. Coach, best of luck to you. We'll chat with you as the progress goes on, and hope nothing but good things for the Bears.
Thank you. Appreciate you calling.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you. We appreciate you. That's exactly what that looks like. And you said it. That's why I had to pull it up. I'm like, that's a pod.
Yeah,
that's
what it
not
is.
good.
And they're 40. You mentioned about the number of games. They've won. LR's won 45 games. They're 45-14.
They were running yesterday. I was watching. One time I was watching Big Ten because Ohio State was playing, or SEC, and they would scroll at the bottom the teams in the conference. First place, second place, and what their wins and losses. I'm like, holy crap! Look at the number of games they played. And here they still got, weeks to play before they started. But whatever. Let me take a break. We'll be back in just a moment. Also,
baseball coach Shannon Vogel.
Will be joining us from Fred T. Ford
later on.
The number 11 RPI team in 3A. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with department staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange.
And welcome back. We had a couple topics before we get Coach Vogel on with us. Before we bring him in about 6:45, we go back to Stephen's question here, and because I do have some thoughts. I always have thoughts.
Yes,
That's
you
just
do.
What can I say? What's your thoughts on talk of a CBA for college athletes, especially football, making players sign contracts to play in all games? I see lawsuits. Let me tell you what I think. This is what I think. Not that anybody really cares what I think, but this is what I think.
They want your opinion, Lanny.
Okay, well, here's what I think. Here's how I think you fix it. Everybody, as much as they want to and think they can, can't play at that level. They don't have the budgets. They don't have the money. They don't have the NIL money. NIL's here to stay.
And a lot of schools, athletic administrators, presidents, they're realistic. They know that. Mm-hmm. But they're still getting a lot of money coming in under the current system.
So what's going to happen, you're going to have that top chunk break off and be their own animals.
Yeah.
Now, in that one, I see a CBA, because if you don't, you're not going to get control of this NIL money. Maybe even down at the other levels. We were talking about off the air, the number of kids, giving you numbers on the portal.
They just came out with the portal closed last Tuesday, April 31st or April 30th. And they came out with some numbers, NCAA did, and CBS Sports, that this past year, the 2 portal periods, one in December goes to January 15th, and the one in April, from April 15th to April 30th. So about 45 days total, two periods there. Power 5 schools are losing more players to Group of 5 schools than what we would think would be vice versa. So there are more kids leaving Power 5 schools and going to Group of 5 schools. Like there are over 300 that left to go to a Group of 5, and incoming players that came to Power 5 schools from the Group of 5, like 230.
And how many went in the portal total?
It was like 1,300.
So there's a lot of kids ain't got nowhere to play.
Yeah.
And probably shouldn't be there anyway.
They're saying now somewhere under 30% find a home.
And the other thing that I'm saying is those Power 5s that have slipped down to Group 5, probably where they should have been to start with.
Probably.
Okay? So I'm okay with that. Everybody kind of got the butt hurt, when all this started, but it's going to work itself out.
It does.
Because everything does. It's new. It was the new shiny toy everybody had to have, but you're going to find that that's going to change. Now, back to the CBA, Stephen, I think you're going to have to, because you can't have these kids flopping around. I think the only thing that's going to release you, if they do a CBA of some sort, the only thing that's going to release you from a contract is if you change divisions.
So these kids are going to be not necessarily employees. Mm-mm. They're going to be subcontractors.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then here's the other side of that. You're going to see a lot of this NIL money kind of go away. Now, I was surprised. There is an LR women's basketball player that got some NIL money. And she took the NIL money and donated it to Towers. It's a thing that funds the relatives and people that were lost in the World Trade Centers.
Okay.
And because what it was talking about, NIL money used for good use or something, not personal gain.
Yeah.
And it was an Illinois basketball player. Now, it didn't say how much money or anything else. It was just a story of what she did with it. But you're going to have some of that. But the problem was, and I understand, there was too much money being made off the individual players' names that they weren't getting. And the NCAA rules have changed so much. Back in our day, you had colleges that find you a part-time job in the summer.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the NIL is one thing. The being paid money under the table is another thing. And that's where the issue comes. They're just going out and saying, come to our school, we'll give you X amount of money. Mm-hmm. What happens if it doesn't work out is the people like on these collectives, you're going to get $100,000. Well, what happens if after 2 games you're on the bench? Does that mean that you're going to keep getting your money?
Yeah, that's a missed investment. You didn't evaluate that.
Yeah, I know.
That's one thing.
Who's in charge of evaluating it in terms of companies?
You're going to have somebody to do it. Here again, all the blame goes on the NCAA because they had their head in the sand and said it's never going to affect us. They're never going to get there.
Yeah.
We're not going to see this happen. And boom, it happens. And the only way to regulate it now is you're going to have a CBA.
Yeah. You got to have guidelines.
All of the schools that want to participate in NIL, they're going to have to come. The other thing that college sports is missing, there's no central government. As much as I hate to say you don't want central government, you got to have somebody in charge.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because right now, everybody's just Wild Wild West. But let's just say 32 teams decide they want to be in this big pot. Then those 32 presidents, chancellors, whoever's in charge, have got to say, okay, we're going to hire a commissioner. And inside of our conference division, whatever it is, it's no longer called NCAA, it's whatever.
Professional college football.
Whatever you want to call it. But what's going to happen is they can establish guidelines that the max NIL you can get is this. That's why there won't be lawsuits, Stephen. But there will be lawsuits until there is a guideline that says, if you come play here, this is the most you can expect to get.
So based upon their position?
I think player by player. It's just
tackles get some amount of money. Quarterbacks get amount of money.
We're going to pay players $50,000 a year. Period. And if they get more than that, then it's not right. Which opens up the other question that I'm a believer in. I think the UFL should be the alternative to going to college. You pay to play
in the springtime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's possible. I think from the money-wise, a lot of the money is going to these collectives, and there are people there's even talk of them starting a collective around here for LR, and I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I tend to think it's probably not a good idea, but who's to say if you're a donor and you already give money and you know where your money's going? I think Appalachian's getting ready to start a collective. You know where your money's going when you give to the Yosef Club, for instance. That's going to go towards scholarships. Well, you give it towards a collective, you're not sure where that money's going to go.
And that's why it can't go on. Because what's going to happen, here's the deal. If, let's just say Yosef was raising $25 million a year. I'm just throwing a number out there.
All that money goes towards scholarships, though.
Okay. They come back to you and say, hey, we need $15 million for NIL deals for our players.
I don't know if they can do that. You got to have a collective. You got to have something separate.
I get that.
Okay.
No, it's separate. I get it. It's separate. But the point is, that ain't going to come from them people that gave 25. They've already give theirs. There's nobody going to double up to give you NIL money. They're either going to pull back from Yosef to fund NIL or vice versa.
Yeah.
There's not another set of money is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
It's not there. So people are not just going to give endlessly.
Yeah. And there might be a few. I mean, again, we're talking about like 1% or 2%. That money's got to come to pay the players. It's got to come from TV revenue. That's the only place they can get it from, right? It's got to come from, wherever they get in their TV contracts.
And my understanding was it was never supposed to be given from somewhere else.
No.
And that was the part that bothered me, and that's why I knew it couldn't last, because you do have caps and pockets. This is not an endless supply of money.
Yeah.
Now, there'll be some. Now, don't get me wrong. The Ohio States, the Notre Dames, the Texas.
Yeah, but is everybody that goes to Ohio State, Texas, or wherever, do they all want to get paid? Do some kids just want to play college football? Some of them. There are a few. Again, I think we're talking at 10% or less.
I'm going to give you one more thought, and then we'll take a break. We'll get Coach Fogel on. I heard this today.
Okay.
They were talking about the roast of Tom Brady last night, and how one question was asked of Reggie Miller on Dan Patrick this morning. Would Michael do that?
No,
they can't.
No,
they can't, because the mindset of basketball players, NBA basketball players, I'm going to get mine. NFL, baseball, they get it after the fact. But
in football, it's let me get mine if you're a receiver.
I understand, but the other thing is, when you have players go down in the NFL from an injury, you see them gather together. NBA, that's too bad on you, because it's all so individualized.
Yeah.
And I can agree with that. I think that's the way it is. Another example, a Derek Jeter couldn't do that. An A-Rod couldn't do that, because that's hard. Nobody, those type of stars, that's why I've changed my whole outlook on Tom Brady, and I hate it, but Tommy's human.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference.
Well, he got paid 8 figures.
Well, but the other thing is
8 figures to do that, get roasted.
And the other thing is, and this is the difference, and what we're talking about is, will LeBron give up money to bring players to help him win another championship because he can't? And LeBron is the first NBA billionaire, from what I understand. But the thing of it is, go back and look at Brady. He gave up some money so they could bring some more weapons in, so they could win.
But the NFL is a hell of a lot stronger than the NBA.
Yes, but that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
I think. Let me take a break. Coach Fogel joins us in just a minute.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit MooneyInsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with department staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange.
And welcome back. Our buddy Liddy said that, and we found that out, the ACC has 2 more weekends of conference play, and then they'll have the ACC tournament, and it's almost could be the end of May before college baseball gets started on its national championship run. We're going to head straight to our guest line, bring our next guest on. I think I surprised him. He's a head coach at Freddie Ford High School. We've talked a little bit, hadn't we, Coach?
I believe.
Yeah. I'm doing some shirts for him, and when Juju came in and said I was trying to get Coach Vogel on with us, I said, well, tell him you're here with me. Maybe that'll help. And I know you're busy with a lot of things going on. We appreciate you taking the time out for us. I looked up here on RPI, and Freddie Ford, there are some local schools in the 3A, but Ford has finished the season at a number 11. You got to be proud of that.
Yeah, the boys did really well. They had a great season. RPI is always a little tricky, but even more important, we won the conference, so that gave us a number 1 seed going into the playoffs, so 1 through 9, and we ended up being the 6th seed overall in the western side of the western side of the state bracket.
Well, I know when you look at it, you finished season 17-5. Is that? Am I seeing that right?
Yep.
17-5, and when you look at it, the only team that's really is East Rowan. East Rowan came at 26-1, but the thing is, everybody else that's in your bracket, you're kind of at the top of the cream of the crop. Like with even some local schools, South Point, East Lincoln, Lake Norman Charter, Kings Mountain, and Lincoln, North Lincoln is right down below you in a 12.
Yeah, and we've obviously played East Lincoln and North Lincoln there in our conference, and we had a non-conference game against Kings Mountain. So, just seeing all the teams were pretty evenly matched, unless, of course, I have my number 1 going, and then I think we're a little more dominant with Sean on the mound. But it just depends on pitching matchups, really. Like, any team could beat any team, especially after the first round.
And that's kind of what it is when you talk about high school baseball. High school baseball can really be dominated if you've got a dominant pitcher. Because most teams don't. Occasionally you'll get into those. Tell us a little bit about your top pitcher.
Sean Jenkins, he's a junior. He's a Western Carolina commit, not Western Carolina, ECU commit. And he's got a lot of interest from some Major League scouts have been coming around too. But he throws the ball really, really hard. I think he touched 95 a couple times this year. But even more importantly, he has really good off-speed stuff, and he throws everything for a strike pretty much anytime he wants to. So it makes it real difficult, especially on high school hitters. There's just very few that can handle that kind of velocity and location.
I was going to say, Lanny, Coach Vogel's a colleague of mine at Jacobs Fork. He teaches right down the hall
okay.
mine. So, yeah, I was going to ask him today, and then things got kind of haywire today at school. But tell us about, you mentioned it, Coach, about Sean Jenkins. What's it been like seeing all those scouts and so much attention being played on this one player? I guess it makes whoever your pitching coach is makes him a lot better too, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of, I kind of do all of that. I'm the pitching coach, head coach, hitting instructor. Yeah, so at the high school level, you don't get a big staff. It's just me and a former player of mine who's my assistant, and then I have a couple of JV coaches that help out when they can. But yeah, he's something special to watch. Probably one of the best pitchers I've ever coached at the high school level. But not only is he getting attention, my shortstop Braxton Trammell, he's also going to Eastern Carolina, is getting some attention from the MLB scouts. So it's been a lot of fun, and I know the other guys have enjoyed it too, having them, all those scouts come around and talk to them at the batting cage, and not only they talk to Braxton, Sean, but they talk to some of the other boys too. So they've enjoyed the ride.
How are the kids, especially those two kids and some of the others, how do they react when they see so many scouts with those guns and stuff, those radar guns at games? How do they react to all that?
Early on, they were pretty excited, and everybody starts talking about it, but now it's just kind of routine. They know when Sean's pitching that there's going to be scouts there, and we just kind of try to keep it into our normal routine as much as possible without deviating, and I think they've kind of just adjusted. And then the boys are pretty funny because once they get around each other, they don't know any difference. They don't, it's just Braxton, somebody they grew up with their whole lives, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So other than the little bit of jitters maybe from them sitting in the stands, which, it's just Braxton and Sean playing ball with the boys they played ball with their entire lives.
What's it been like winning a conference championship at Ford this year?
It was really rewarding. We only have 10 full-time varsity players. It's the smallest team I've ever coached, and to be able to play in one of the hardest divisions in the state with East Lincolnton and North Lincolnton and St. Stephen's and Hickory, to win it with that few of players and, some of the coaching moves we've had to do and playing kids out of position and them willing to play out of position just to give us a better chance to win. It's just been a really fun group, a small group, a tight-knit group, but just a lot of fun. And then to cap it off at the end of the season with a win, it's just kind of, rewarding that all your moves and all your preseason stuff and all the hard work has finally paid off, and the boys will, always be champions no matter where they go. So.
Coach, I want to ask you again, going back to Jenkins, I read an article last week talking about today's baseball pitchers, and you've got kids that are going out there on the major side that are topping 100 on a regular basis. They can't go long. And it goes back, one of the things that kind of caught my ear when you said it, not only does he throw hard, but he also has got mixed pitches. And that's one of the things that folks say a lot about some of today's pitchers. They can throw hard, but they also got to have the other stuff as well, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's what really separates him from other pitchers that have, pitched in the area that could really throw hard is, one, his control is outstanding. Like, he can locate any pitch at any time, like I said. But the off-speed stuff is incredible. The control and command he has of that, and he'll throw it in any count, 3-2, 2-2 to start a batter. He'll throw his slider, his curveball, his forkball, and he can throw it and get results, positive results from it. So I think that's huge, and especially second, third time through the lineup, he can really pitch around guys that normally, if you didn't have any of that, would just sit there and eventually catch up to the fastball.
So when you're talking about pitch around them, that's one of the things that not only pitchers but batters do the same thing. They like to come through the order one time, kind of see what the pitcher's doing. But the pitchers also do that. They kind of learn what the batter likes as well.
Yeah, we get through the first round through. We kind of have a good idea of what they're doing, and then of course we do a lot of scouting. Sean and I will talk about batters, and Blake Powell too. He's my senior catcher. He actually calls pitches for me and has done that the last 2 years. I have a lot of faith in him, and him and Sean have worked together for a long time, so the two of them work well together. But we'll sit down and talk at practice and right before the game. Once I have the other teams line up and go over, where their best hitter's hitting, what he likes to hit, as much information as I can gather being a high school coach and, scouring social media and all that stuff. You'll be surprised what you can find, some videos here and there. It takes a little bit of time, but we definitely do that and have good conversations. And if it doesn't work the first time or we notice something, we definitely will make some changes. Sean and Blake are both really, really good at noticing the small details and making adjustments.
Is that unusual where you have the catcher nowadays? It's like a quarterback calling his own plays. Is that unusual at the high school level for a catcher to do that?
I think it is. I know a lot of coaches that call pitches, and I did. I mean, early on in my career, I've called a lot of pitches, but as I've developed catchers, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of really good catchers that have caught 3-4 years. Blake being a 4-year starter behind the plate, and we develop. The first year I'll call pitches and help him through stuff. The second year I'll kind of give him a little bit of leeway, but then I'll say, if you get in trouble, look at me, and I'll start to go through the pitches. But the last 2 years, very rarely do I need to get his attention, and I'll change something or tell him something during an at bat. Usually he'll finish that at bat. So it is kind of unusual. But Blake's a really, really smart kid, a great defensive catcher. Sean kind of knows what he wants to pitch. So like I said, they work well together, and I just kind of try to stay out of their way unless there's an issue.
On a major league side, I don't know it as much now, but I go back to the Smoltz and Glavin and Maddox. They all had their own catchers. The catchers would change depending upon who was pitching because they had kind of had that chemistry to work together. And I think that's great that you've got some. And it's got to help the Jenkins kid with his confidence as well, having that guy behind the plate.
Oh yeah, especially like Jenkins was a sophomore and Blake was a 3-year starter being a junior, and you could see it start to develop there because at first Sean wasn't sure if he could throw that fork ball in the dirt, but he got real comfortable with it. He knew Blake was going to block it. It wasn't an issue, so he could throw it with guys at third, second, it doesn't matter, and get the strikeout. And Blake would block it, throw him out at first, and we get out of the inning. So being comfortable with the catcher is huge. I think a lot of times you see in the major leagues now they've gone to the communication devices.
Yes.
And pitchers calling their own pitches. And I guess it works for some, but I'm still a little old school. I like that, that communication piece between the pitcher and the catcher and the signs and the communication, the nonverbal communication. I think you learn a lot about somebody's body language and how they're feeling when you can do the nonverbal instead of just, hey, throw a fastball. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think you're right. Coach, short turnaround. You get started tomorrow. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we can chat with you again as you make some progression through the state playoffs.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. It's good talking to you
yes,
guys.
sir.
All right, see you in the morning.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. That's Coach.
And that was last minute. It was probably 6:15 by the time we got a hold of him.
Yeah.
But I apprite him.
I didn't think about that because I talked to him earlier today.
Yeah.
Making sure we was on, because I told him about his shirts came in today, and I said I'll have the transfers. I should be able to give them to you for the end of the week. So he was excited about that to be able to get his.
Your influence stretches far and wide.
No. Yeah, it's not that bad.
And he's a Steelers fan too. Big Steelers fan.
Is he from the Northland too?
I can't remember.
Okay.
He told me a couple of times, but I know he's a Steelers fan.
Jeff Joynes said, Juju working on his birthday.
Yeah, I'm working on my birthday.
That would be you.
Yeah, I am. Thank you,
Happy
Jeff.
birthday to you again, sir.
Thank you.
Great show.
Thanks to everybody that
Appreciate
reached
everybody
out today.
participate. Yeah. Have a great day. Mr. Rembert is traveling, as you saw. He's not going to be in the morning since he's at Busch Stadium out in St. Louis. He'll be back on
You can't do a Zoom call
on
with him?
Thursday. Not that time of day, because he's at least an hour behind.
He is an hour behind.
And then we may even hear from old Juju on Wednesday. Just have to wait and see. Have a great evening. See you again. Bye.